Hi and welcome back to the channel. So I hope you enjoyed that rather short trailer for Strike, which is Zero G's new contact instrument, and it is in collaboration with my good mate Ergo Cook, and it has been designed to leave you on the edge of your seat, delivering raw suspense, gritty energy and pulse pounding excitement. So it is on sale for $53, which is approximately 40 quid or 47 euros, and you also get a discount if you have owners of Cybercore or Celestial Vision. Yeah, so that takes it down a bit as well. So let's have a look and see what it is all about. Like I said, that was the trailer, and they have got a kind of overview video as well. So you need the full version of Kontakt 7.10.5 or higher. This will not work in the free Kontakt player, so don't buy it if you don't have at least Kontakt 7.10. 1.1 gigabyte, and all the included samples are 100% royalty free. So created by Ergo Cook and crafted for action driven and stealthy thematic scoring, Strike is your new go-to library for modern cinematic composition. Build dynamic soundscapes with intuitive randomization tools, deep sound controls and customizable presets. Shape your score using sound source morphing, multiple modulation options and a range of high quality effects, all working together to give you music the punch it deserves. So it is inspired by TV series like The Day of the Jackal and games like Cyberpunk 2007. If you didn't know, Ergo is Estonian and he lives in Tallinn, which is kind of like the capital of Estonia. So the new version of The Day of the Jackal was filmed in and around Estonia and Tallinn. So yeah, so that is why he was inspired by that. Ergo set out to capture and extend the tension and intensity of those worlds while crafting something entirely his own. Strike is a hybrid rhythmic instrument built from Ergo's personal live recordings blended with top-tier synths. Its sound palette draws from evocative sources like abandoned military bases, wrecked vehicles and instruments including an electric guitar, handpan, etc. These recordings were then pushed through intense processing using wavetable and sample playback synths with high-end effects chains putting the CPU through its paces. Every sound started with a question and the answer was forged in sonic experimentation. Right, Strike aims to push creative boundaries and bring bold cinematic energy back into the world of Kontakt rhythmic libraries. And in the world flooded with libraries recycling the past, something different has arrived. Strike is volatility, Strike is risk, Strike is the outlier, a bold new sonic weapon in your composing arsenal. Honestly, they've got the copywriters in for this one. Innovative, rebellious and razor sharp, Strike delivers a sound that stands apart while getting the job done. So, Strike is the next in the series after Celestial Visions and Cybercore, and also made by Ergo Cook. Check out these titles for more rhythmic explorations. Now, I don't have any of those, but I will show you them later on. The features are, you get over 1 gigabyte of 48 kilohertz 32-bit samples, 111 thematic snapshots across action, tension, sneaky and experimental, and it's the first time I've ever seen a sneaky category in a Kontakt instrument. You get 4 sample sources, sample selection randomization, source movement, which is possibly the greatest thing ever invented, filter movement, horizontal, vertical and circular modulation units. You get the edit modulation and edit effects. So we've got things like the chorus, distortion, lo-fi, replica, delay, spatial, convolution, filter and phases, which is pretty good range of effects. It's normally retailing for 66 and you are getting it for $53. And that is about it. So if we go on and we'll just have a look at Cybercore. So you will get a discount if you own this, or I think the first one was Celestial Visions, yeah. So that's a 1.5 gigabyte as well, and Celestial Visions. So they're kind of normally around about the same price. Yeah, so they're normally around about 66. Yeah, Celestial Visions is 3.3 gigabyte. I will get this open in Kontakt and we will hear what it sounds like and see what it looks like. So here we are in Kontakt 7 and I have got Strike loaded up. So that intro was Strike and Trails, and I was using my Endless Journey preset, and I will leave a link to the pack in the description. So yeah, so I thought I would start off just showing you what Strike sounds like with something else, because before I go through the presets. So I'm using my Keylab 49 because there was absolutely no mapping on my new S61 Mark III. So they hadn't done any mapping at all, which is a bit disappointing. I'm using a Keylab because I've got the faders, so I have mapped them to each of the volume controls, because to map everything would take forever, and I don't have that many knobs on the 49. So as you can see, you've got filter, envelope and EQ, and that is the same for source 1, 2, 3 and 4. Then we have the edit effects, the edit modulation and the movement and the randomize. So this is kind of different. It's split into like two halves, so this half stays the same and the bottom half will change. Now personally, I think the graphics in the background are a bit distracting from the controls, because there is a lot of controls, as you can see. Now Ergo's version is kind of different. He had the big XY pad in the middle, which you could control like that. I kind of liked this kind of way of doing it, and you could go through and everything was a lot clearer and nice and big. Yeah, like I said, they've got it down so that it's kind of all in kind of more or less one page now, and you're only kind of having to concentrate on the kind of bottom half. But I'm kind of still, I think the jury's out on it in my opinion, but we'll see how we go. Like I said, certainly the background needed to be a bit, either a different colour or a bit less intrusive, I think, in my humble opinion as a graphic designer. So there's 4 packs of snapshots. There's action, tense, sneaky and experimental, and as you can see it's about 111, I think it said. So pretty good amount. We'll start off with the first one, which is active action, and this is quite loud. So compared to Biotech, this is way louder. I don't know what was going on with that. So this is me down at C1, C2, C3, C4 and C5. So you can play it up the keyboard, obviously it's just going to get pitched higher. And like I said, I can shut off the first 2 sources, or them all, just quite easily using the faders. So it is actually worth having faders for this type of plugin rather than knobs. So I'm better off using this than the S61 anyway. So if you haven't used any of these before, you get an EQ, an envelope and a filter. You get a solo and a randomize preset. So you can either click in here and then you could pick another bass. For instance, we could go to Acidic Punk and solo that. Or you could randomize it. And then, like I said, you could muck about with the envelopes and the filters and whatever. And also you could add on some movement down here and the effects. So there's just one effect on this preset, or there was before I started randomizing it. So you've got chorus, lo-fi, spatial, distortion, replica delay, and convolution, and phases and flare. Pretty good. And there's some presets there for the convolution reverb as well. So yeah, pretty comprehensive effects, I think you will agree. And like I said, you can just switch them off and on there. Ergo doesn't tend to use a lot of effects on his presets. And then, like I said, you've got the modulation, so you've got LFOs and you can apply them there. So source 1, 2, 3 and 4. And for instance, we could apply the source volume to the sine and or triangle. and then you've got LFO 2, 3, and 4, and then you've got 4 envelopes on this side. So you can, obviously, you could have the envelope going to cutoff 2, which is here. So that is kind of how it works, and then you've got your movement. So I'll pick another preset, Code Red, circular on, and we'll take that, we'll take it down a bit, and then you can switch direction, so we can go anti-clockwise or clockwise. And it is just brilliant. And like I said, we could solo the top 2 or solo the bottom 2. Take the kick down a bit and bring the bass up. That is kind of basically how it works. It's very, very easy to get the hang of. Right, so let's have a look at some tense. So let's just play the first preset. Right, so let's see if we've got any effects on. Yeah, so there's a few effects on here. We've got distortion, chorus, spatial. So for instance, you could switch that off and put phases on. And put it to 1/8. Nightclub search. What have we got on this? Nothing. So we could put some delay on. And put on convolution. And interstellar. Put some flare on. Bring up the bass and the perks. Pretty cool. Like I said in the intro, I've never had a sneaky category. So let's just try the first one. I have no idea what these are going to be like. Right, so we've got Holovision Takeover. Some of Ergo's names are brilliant. My favourite of all time is Frozen Elf Tears, and that is just the best preset name or sample name. That's Cyber Fights, and we could bring the drums up a bit. Extraction. Right, let's get some movement on this then. Let's get some horizontal movement. Bring up the hi-hats. And speed up. Let's sod all convolution. Right, let's get some chorus on. Let's try experimental code breach. Let's see what we've got on this. Got replica and spatial. Right, let's put phases on. Half a bar. One more. So what we really need is some other sounds coming in with it. Right, so we'll take off Atmos and then we will have Don't Look Back and see what that sounds like. So you can see what's going on there. We've got some movement page, and what effects have we got on? We've got chorus, distort, delay, we've got everything on. Shit. Right, so what can we pick to go with that? Let's try maybe tense. That sounded quite tense to me. Let's try tactics. Take the volume down a wee bit. Right, let's try to take some of the drums down. Just have the top two. Let's have rotation point. And we could randomize this one. Very cool. Bring Siberia back up. This is where the movement part of it comes in, because you can just leave this running and as long as you've got some movement on at least one of them, faces aligned. And what else have we got? Experimental science. Oh, this is the last one. Right, so I'm assuming faces is on. Yes, it is. Right, so we can take that off and just leave the movement on the trails. Maybe bring up the volume a bit on these. Better. Right, let's try it with Tunnel Secure. And Garden of Delights. That is Strike with Ergo's Trails and the Atmos. There are quite a few other categories that you can go into. There's effects and all sorts of other things. We'll just have a quick look and see what else is in Trails. Yeah, so there's 5 NKIs in Trails. So you get Atmos, effects, menus, one shots, and rhythmic. That was Atmos I was using, but like I said, you've got loads of other and tons of snapshots for each of those. So after I finished my Strike review, I sent it to Ergo, and I'd kind of suggested, well, why don't you do some sort of discount with Trails, since it sounds really good? And he went, well, as it turns out, my sale is going to start on the 23rd of May. So I thought I would add this on to the review and just let you see the prices that are on Loot Audio. And this is all of Ergo's instruments, and Trails is now down from 129 to 5160, so you are saving 60%. So you could get both Strike and Trails for around about 100, is that roughly? And then Aleatoric, I would definitely get that for 15 quid, because that is fantastic, and you've got the whole set, so you've got rhythms and keys as well. So any of these that you buy, you get Phantasm free. Phantasm is an array of sounds from multiple Ergo Cook libraries. So you get a bit of Aleatoric, a bit of rhythms, keys, Trails, synchro hits, and virtual symphony. Yeah, so you get that free with any of these, and it's normally like 16 quid, and it is 10 quid in the sale. So you might as well buy something else like Aleatoric, and you'll get that free anyway. So, and you've got the Psykicks and the Psy Effects. You've got the newer ones, which is the Handpan, Tongue, Duduk, Komarobe flutes, and the Ayahuascus. So I think Ayahuascus and Duduk are some of my favourites as well. So that is kind of this whole instrument range, and certainly recommend getting Trails or Aleatoric to use with Strike, and it gives you another whole library of sounds as well. And I have done preset packs for quite a few of these. So over to the store. So you can see that I've got a preset pack for Trails, Duduk, and Ayahuascu as well. You're getting 55 for Trails, 30 for Duduk, and 15 for Ayahuascu. So if we go on, and you can have a look and see a split between the Atmos and effect. So you get 35 Atmos and 20 effects snapshots, and it's a mix of soundscapes, pads, ambience, and obviously SFX. You can watch my sound demo there. So that is only $5.50. So that is it for kind of Strike and Ergo. And as usual, if you are enjoying these videos, please like, subscribe, share, and comment, and I will see you in the next one.